In Lookism, there are fighters who can crush stone with a knee, and others so fast it's like Buddha himself lit the way. But once in every generation comes along someone who defines that era. Whether as a protector or a tyrant, they all have something in common, and that's they are the strongest of their time. In today's video, we're breaking down the strongest characters from each generation in Lookism, from the most dominant force in the modern second generation to the unbreakable wall of the Zeroth generation. We'll explore who they are, why they stood above everyone else, and what it really means to be the peak of an era in the Lookism universe. Now, with that out of the way, this is the peak of every generation in Lookism. Let's start off with Gabrion Kim, the man many considered to be the strongest in the entire Lookism universe. Gabrion Kim, the man, the myth, the walking apocalypse with a Father of the Year trauma. When people say strongest in the verse, they don't whisper it. They say it with reverence and maybe just a little bit of fear. This man was so absurdly powerful, it took two top-tier verse-breaking monsters to even put him down. And even then, it felt like a technicality. Gabrion Kim didn't just dominate his generation, he defined it. In an era crawling with chaos and violence, he tried to rule with restraint. But let's be honest, restraint for Gabrion still meant launching people into the stratosphere if they looked at him sideways. He and his crew were basically the original Avengers of Lookism, kicking out an invading Japanese gang, cleaning house, and setting a power ceiling so high that even now, generations later, people still look up and go, yeah, no thanks. His strength wasn't just overwhelming, it was influential. Just being his student gives you plot armor, and being his son practically guarantees that you're going to throw hands like your DNA was dipped in pure testosterone. And sure, Gabrion Kim wasn't perfect. He was reckless, violent, and probably raised Jake with the parenting style of a granite countertop. But when it came down to it, he made sacrifices he had to. Not for glory, not for fame, but to make sure the next generation even had a chance of fighting. In death, he became a legend. In life, he was a living warning. Don't step to the mountain, or the mountain will step on you. This is why Gabrion Kim will forever be remembered as the peak of the Zeroth generation, and maybe, just maybe, the strongest Lookism character to ever live. Moving on to James Lee, the ghost of the first generation. The man whose name carries so much weight, it might as well come with its own gravitational pull. If Gabrion Kim was a mountain, James is the quiet storm that levels cities before you can even hear the thunder. This man was a one-man army. No crew, no backup, just raw, terrifying excellence. Before he ever became a top-tier idol with K-pop visuals that could end careers, James was already racking up awards like they were participation trophies. He wasn't just good, he was an actual anomaly, capable of bodying every first-gen king solo and walking away like it was cardio. James Lee is fast, scarily fast, and his technique is so clean you'd think it was surgically installed. We're talking about a man who is canonically stronger than Gite. Yes, I said canonically. And as if that wasn't fair enough, James isn't just physically dominant, he's dangerously intelligent. He's the type of guy who could manipulate a chess game without touching the board and still win in 3 moves. His charm, weaponized. His silence, calculated. And his smile is probably hiding a multi-step plan to ruin your life. To the public, he's the perfect idol. Polished, graceful, untouchable, but behind that veneer is a tactician with a silver tongue and iron fists. He's not loud, he doesn't need to be. When James moves, the verse listens, and his current motives in the story are still a mystery. Is he a savior, a hidden villain, or just a man trying to shape the world the only way he knows how, with his fists and a frightening level of strategic precision? Whatever the case is, James Lee is undeniably the peak of the first generation. A legend not because he sought the spotlight, but because the spotlight was too scared to look away. Now, moving on to the current legend in the making of the second generation, Daniel Park. Now, let's be real, if you told anyone back then that this timid, overweight kid with zero confidence would one day be hailed as the future of his generation, they'd probably have laughed you out of the block. But Daniel's story, it's a modern day epic. He didn't just start off strong, rich, or even remotely respected. He started from nothing. What changed wasn't being born into an OP bloodline or realizing his talent early. It was pure, relentless effort. Day in and day out, Daniel worked. He bled, suffered, and somehow, through a bizarre miracle and a mountain of grit, he rose. Unlike the monsters of the Zeroth and first generation, Daniel isn't just powerful because he can throw hands, though make no mistake, he can. He's special because of what drives him. His strength comes from compassion, not carnage. He doesn't fight to dominate, he fights to protect. And even with all of his power, all his influence, Daniel still chooses kindness over cruelty, a rare trait in a world where fists do the talking. But don't let that fool you. Behind that gentle demeanor is someone who united the 4 major crews, someone who earned the respect of titans like Gun and Gu, and someone who's slowly but surely carving a path towards his own unique peak. Sure, he may not be as absurdly overpowered as Gabriel or as terrifyingly precise as James Lee, not yet, but Daniel doesn't need to copy anyone's path. He's writing his own legend from scratch, and when the dust finally settles, when the battles are over and the power dynamics shift once again, there's no doubt that Daniel will stand tall. Not just as a fighter, but as the heart of the new generation, a legend in the making. Not born strong, but made strong through will, growth, and the sheer refusal to give up. As different as these 3 absolute monsters may be, Gabriel Kim with the dead strength that could end continents, James Lee with the I look like an idol but fight like a boss battle energy, and Daniel, the glow-up king who went from being a punching bag to punching legends, they all share one terrifying similarity. They can change fate. These aren't just guys who fight well, these are guys who rewrite the rules of the universe just by showing up. One started a revolution, another one silently broke the system, and the last is out here uniting crews like he's connecting the Infinity Stones. And sure, you're probably not gonna start kicking through walls tomorrow, but hey, if Daniel Park can go through midnight snacks to midnight ass whoopings, there's hope for the rest of us. This has been the peak of every generation in Lookism, and I wanna know, out of all the new characters PTJ is introducing, who do you think is next to carry the title of legend?